Good evening, guys. You know what time it is. It's time for tactics. Hey, so welcome back to the Tactics of Trav YouTube channel where we go through all things tactical when it comes to chess. So, guys, this past weekend I played in a tournament in Omaha. I haven't played in Nebraska in actually a couple of years. Even though I know a lot of the Nebraska players, they come to South Dakota. I see them at other tournaments, but haven't been there physically to play in a tournament in a little bit. So, I was due. So, I've been talking some trash on the Nebraska chess.com page saying I was going to win. But, I was very, very close to winning. But, guys, I got to show you this game against a 1960 very strong player. I got to give props to him, Rakshith Seetheraman. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly, but great player, great kid. I believe he's a sophomore in high school. But anyway, great job. I got to go through this game to show you guys what happened. So I'm playing white, he's playing black, and I even had the white pieces. So, I should have, I had the advantage. And we played E4, and he played the Carol Khan guys, the Carol Kant of all defenses. He plays the Carol Kant. So I know that he scouted me because, I kind of had it coming. I have a YouTube channel, and so you can go to my channel. My trailer is me playing against a strong player from Colorado, and the trailer video is me playing against him, playing the Carol Kant defense. So I'm asking for it for people to scout me, but that's on me to just be able to revise my game and be able to make changes for things like this. So he plays C6, I play D3, he plays D5, E5, C5. So you guys are probably wondering, like, what am I doing playing D3 on the second move? This is exactly how Bobby Fischer liked to play against it in the 60s if he didn't play the exchange variation against the Carol Khan. So I just don't want to fall into the theoretical main lines of, E4, C6, D4, D5, E5, or potentially knight C3, D takes E5, E4, knight takes E4, bishop to F5, and then I go to knight G3, and then he goes bishop to G6. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't want to go into the normal theoretical lines. I wanted to play something different, maybe capture him off guard, but because I use it as my trailer video on YouTube, it probably didn't help me. So he plays C5, knight F3, knight C6, G3, bishop G4, the exact same moves that Nick Havezda used in the tournament that was in the Wyoming Community Foundation Open. So basically copied his moves, but then just made some revisions to make them the better move. So he probably prepped, saw how Stockfish was going to deal with it, and then played those moves. So after bishop to G4, pinning my knight, now my defensive E5 is not really there. So I got to defend the pawn with bishop to F4, E6, bishop to G2. So King's Indian. This is the King's Indian way to deal with the Carol Kant defense. Knight GE7, and he's going to go knight to G6 next, putting more pressure on the E5 pawn. Castles, and then knight G6, which also simultaneously attacks my bishop on F4. But the truth is, I want him to take it because I want to open the G file. But he knows this guy, so this is where the prepping really comes into play in these tournaments, because he knows that I want him to take the bishop on F4. And he probably went all the way into Stockfish on how to deal with it. So after this, I played rook E1 to add more defense to E5. He took the bishop. G takes, and G5. So this is the way to refute the tactics with Trav variation, apparently. So after G5, I played Queen D2. So I can retake on F4 with the queen. He goes Rook G8. Now, pause your videos here, guys. Like, should I take the pawn? Should I not take the pawn? What's the best move for white? All right, you ready? So one of the best moves is just to clear your king out of the way of this potential pin. So with Rook G8, what he's threatening is G takes F4, Queen takes F4, and if bishop takes F3, my bishop here on G2 is pinned. So I cannot retake on F3. So it's just better for me to get out of the way. I played king h1 before I think about taking back on g5. So he takes on f4, since they didn't fall for the pin. Queen takes f4. Bishop takes f3. So to trade down apparently is the best way to deal with this. I take back with the bishop and queen g5. So Stockfish wants me to take the queen or go queen g3. So one of two ways to play this, but I end up taking the queen here, and I saw, the problem was being able to hold on to the pawn on e5, and so that's probably why I'm going to stop playing the tactics of Trav variation. It was kind of more of a, just kind of spur of the moment way to play something different outside the box, so I didn't fall into some of these theoretical lines. But I'm going to lose the pawn here, guys, because there's no way for me to defend that twice. So he's got the knight on c6 and the rook on g5 aiming at it. So I'm going to quit playing this just because I need to play probably a more theoretical main line just to stay safe and not go down a pawn. Bishop to g2. Now, there's a little bit of a trick with bishop to g2. And during the game, guys, I had this thought that, like, well, if he takes it the knight, like, pause your videos, what would be a good move to play after bishop g2 if knight takes e5? All right, ready? So if knight were to take on e5, that would be a blunder because I would have the pawn fork f4. So, it's kind of a cheesy trick, but I mean, I want to get my bishop back on g2 anyway, so I can potentially push the f-pawn. So why not set a trap? I mean, that's what we like to do on the channel, is set traps, play creative, aggressive, interesting chess. So that's what I'm trying to do here. But sadly, he doesn't fall for it. He takes it the rook, which is the proper move. And after that, guys, like, I was a little bit concerned of knight b4 or knight to d4, which attacks this pawn, and just the threat of, the knight fork on c2 is kind of annoying. So because of that, I played knight to a3, which Stockfish said it was a good move. It wasn't the best move. It said actually the best move was for me to play knight c3, which I was like, knight c3? He can trade on e1, rook takes e1, and then knight d4. That's exactly what I was concerned about. So it's just, one of those things that it's not a bad move playing knight a3. That was more of a human move, but Stockfish didn't seem to really put too much stock in the knight to d4 threat. Bishop to g7. c3, blunting out any ideas that black has to rip down the diagonal on the dark squares. Castle's queenside. And knight c2. So I can try to reroute my knight, add more defense over d4 and b4, so I can maybe press d4, maybe even potentially b4 in the future. And he plays d4. So pause your videos here, guys. You're playing me. You're playing white. What is a move that would be kind of interesting to play to set a trap? So I'm just going to have you pause your videos here and think, like, what would be an interesting move to play as white and why? Think of the sequence: 3, 4, 5, 6 moves ahead. All right, you ready? So, guys, after a deep think of probably like 15 minutes, this is because this is game 90, increment 30, I thought to play bishop to e4, which I thought was an interesting move because bishop to e4, it basically threatens the h7 pawn, yes, but really what it's doing is it's goading him into trapping his rook. Because look how oddly his rook is placed here on e5. What I was thinking was this: bishop to e4, and if bishop to e4, if black were to try to push me away with like f5, because that would be a natural way to kind of remove my bishop that just centered itself, then I'd have f4 trapping the rook, which I thought that was a really cool trap tactical idea, right? Because, you know, this is a Tactics with Trav's channel. We like to set traps and play creative chess. But here's where this title of the video comes from. So we won the battle, but we lost the war. And so what I mean by that is I practice tactics all the time. You guys see me doing all the puzzles, but I think there's a little bit of a danger in it because basically what happened here is I won the battle. I won the tactic. Like I actually played bishop to e4 and he played, lo and behold, f5. So guys, shame on f5. Shame on that move. So f5 is actually exactly what we wanted. It's a blunder. It's bad, but not for the reason that I thought. So this is where it gets crazy and you just got to calculate like super deep. So I calculated only like 3 moves ahead, but I should have calculated 6 moves ahead, guys, because check this line out. This is just pretty wild. So after the reason that f5 is a blunder is not for the reason that I think. So f4, which I thought was super creative. I even have an exclamation point in my logbook. Guys, shame on that F4. Shame on that move. So actually what happens after I play f4, I kick down from being down like -2 to like -3.88. So it's like it's a blunder on his part, but it's also like I blundered right back. It calculated as a miss, but it's basically a blunder because I didn't take advantage of the opportunity. So what it wanted me to do was to take his knight on c6. But I just thought it was really weird, guys, because let me show you this line. So after f5, and I thought he blundered, which technically he did, but not for the reason that I thought, and I play f4, which I'm like, yes, I just trapped his rook. Well, check this line out. f4, right? F takes e4, F takes e5, E takes d3, knight to a3, D takes c3, B takes c3, d2, and then this rook to g1. So I should have, the way I play, guys, I should have calculated that far ahead to see that, yes, I trapped the rook, you know, good for me. But that's not, like I won that battle, but I lost the war because it just doesn't work out for me because of that exact sequence. So what's crazy is after the game, guys, like, well, let's just go through it and then I'll tell you what happens. So F takes e4, F takes e5, and I was excited about this. E takes d3, knight to a3, D takes c3, B takes c3, and d2. Those are the exact stockfish lines, guys, when I ran it through. So he played perfectly. But the thing that I thought he got kind of lucky on, and he's a great kid, he's a great player, is I don't think he calculated that either. So he didn't even see the f4 move. He said that he did, but what was weird is when you look at the timesheet, like it took him like 30 seconds to like make the move f5. So unless he could truly calculate f5 and the whole sequence that this led to in a matter of 30 seconds, I don't really believe that he calculated it either, and he kind of lucked into the better position. But it doesn't really matter because his moves are the best moves, and maybe calculation is just a control problem that I have. But he said that he saw it, and actually what he told me is, this is what he said, because after the game I asked him, he said, my bishop was strong, which was his reason for moving forward with that sequence. So it really had nothing to do with the calculation. It had to do with, he thought my bishop was really strong on the diagonal, which it was, and taking it off was fine compensation for his rook. But that wasn't the real reason as to why that move fails. It's because he's got this pawn that ends up on d2, and my pieces are passive. So anyways, chess is hard, guys. The way that we play, I should have calculated all the way to here to realize that trap on f4 was actually bad. So such is life. But after d2, guys, rook e, I went rook d, e to d1, and he took bishop takes e5, and it's just basically I just lose, from here. I mean, I'm already down like -4.5 points, guys. So he basically just traded down his pawns, got super advanced. I mean, this one's already advanced. This pawn comes down here. My pieces became really passive, and I just eventually lost. So anyway, guys, I just thought this was an interesting one to share because it was just this past weekend in the round 3 game against Rakshith Seetheraman. He's a great player, so I'm not taking anything away, but I should have calculated 6 moves deep, guys, to realize that that trap, even though it looked really good, was actually bad. So, I did go up 22 points in the tournament, so I'm at 1746 now. So I am happy about that. But we got to just keep working on our tactics, guys, and realize that sometimes you might win the tactic, but you might lose the position. All right, guys, if you're seeing value out of these videos, buy me a coffee in the link description. And, if it's $5, $10, whatever you think I deserve, I appreciate it. Appreciate your viewership. All right, guys, have a great day. We'll see you on the next one.